Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing Noob.
Welcome to another edition of the Q&A series with the IBFP, and I have a special guest.
Hey, it's Miss Spicy Boxing, y'all. I'm in the building.
Now let's go. And the first question of the day is from my brother Dan, and my brother Dan states, Nuke, now that Canelo Alvarez is going to be out for almost a year, will David Benavidez, Jamal Charlo, Demetrius Andrade, and the rest of the regular Duckers sit out and have another year's break too? In my opinion, they will. None of these guys have ever fought each other last year. None of these guys have fought each other this year. What have they been waiting on the last 2 years? Canelo was going undisputed 1 year. This year he's been booked. For 2 years these guys sat around doing nothing. I believe they're going to do it again for yet another year.
And Dan, I think that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to continue to fight bums. They wasted this year. They're going to waste another year. They're going to sit back and just wait on Canelo for that payday.
All right, and let's keep it going. And the next one comes from my brother Baconator Supreme, and he states, should Triple G go undisputed at 160 pounds? And to answer your question, Baconator, absolutely. I would love to see Triple G challenge himself, pursue his legacy, pursue greatness, and go undisputed at 160. And if he's ducking the smoke, he got to be called out for it. If he's avoiding the smoke, he got to be called out for it, because you don't need to be holding belts unless you're trying to defend them, unless you're trying to be great. We need to see Triple G versus Jamal Charlo. We need to see Triple G versus, Janibek. We need to see those fights. Triple G and Janibek in Kazakhstan would be a massive fight. A massive fight. So there's a lot of potential fights. I want to see Triple G go for greatness and try to go undisputed at 160 pounds.
See, I wouldn't be opposed if he did, but to me, he doesn't have to. Triple G's already proven that he's a Hall of Famer just based off his resume alone. So other champions need to go ahead and just fight each other. Don't wait on Triple G. Just go ahead and do it yourself. The pressure should not be on a 40-year-old Triple G.
You saying it should be on Charlo and Janibek to get it in?
On the Youngbloods, yes.
All right, let's keep it going. And the next one comes from the Boxing Realm, and he states, where are all the Triple G man fans that dominated the comments saying Canelo would get knocked out by Triple G? Where'd they all go? I'm going to tell you where they went. These guys are all over social media, all over the comments, but they're not saying anything about eating their words. What they're saying is, oh, Canelo Alvarez sucks because he didn't knock out Triple G. We're talking about a Triple G who has one of the best chins that boxing has ever seen. A guy who's never been knocked down or knocked out in his entire career. These guys are fanboys for a reason.
Now, I'm not a man fan, but I am a Triple G fan. Don't hate. But in no way, shape, or form did I think that Triple G was going to knock out Canelo. In fact, I was actually hoping that Canelo wouldn't knock out a 40-year-old Triple G. It would have been sad seeing Triple G go out like that to me.
And Miss Spicy, I just want to say for the record here at the IBFP, we don't care about your feelings. But let's keep it going. And the next one comes from my brother Jonathan, and he states, Canelo has had cardio issues since the beginning of his career, but it seems more obvious as of now. Don't you think he'll eventually get stopped by someone like David Benavidez if he can take him past the 8th round? Well, we just saw Canelo Alvarez go past the 8th round with Triple G and with Dimitri Bivol, and neither one of those guys were able to stop him. I don't know why we would believe David Benavidez would be able to. David Benavidez has no defense. He's been dropped by a C-level fighter, hasn't knocked out anyone elite, and Canelo Alvarez's chin is proven. The facts show no indication that David Benavidez would be able to do that. And not only that, Canelo Alvarez went undisputed at 168, and he showed zero signs of having cardio issues. Obviously, Canelo Alvarez going up and down in weight is causing a problem, and also his activity. This guy literally had 6 fights in 2 years against 5 world champions in 2 weight classes. This guy is worn out and he needs a break. He needs to get rested and he needs to heal his injuries. Then I believe Canelo Alvarez will be back better than ever.
Nice.
And I'm sorry, and just for the record, Canelo knocks out David Benavidez. He's tailor-made for him.
I agree with you 100%. I don't think that Canelo's cardio or stamina was affected just because he's on a decline or anything like that. It was simply affected because he's going up and down in weight. He went from 168 to 175, then from 175 to 168. That is going to affect your body. You have to adjust to it. But to me, 168 is where Canelo should be. That's where he's been successful. He's undefeated. He's undisputed at 168. What more can you say?
Great point. And let's get to the next one. This one comes from Thomas, and he states, shouldn't Canelo Alvarez drop his belt if he's going to be out until September instead of holding back the 175-pound division? I'm quite curious to hear your thoughts about this. Now, Thomas, I will say, Canelo Alvarez is not holding up the 175-pound division because Canelo Alvarez has no titles at 175 pounds. So if Canelo Alvarez is out a year, they can make undisputed. He actually frees up Dimitri Bivol to pursue undisputed if he's out a year, resting, getting better, healing up from his injuries. That actually works better for boxing as a whole to see 175. All the top fighters try to attempt to go undisputed. So that actually works in everybody's favor. And we also need a healthy and refreshed Canelo Alvarez for the sport of boxing. That's what we need. And not only that, he's not holding up 168 either. I mean, if you think about it, there's been no mandatories that have been mandated. David Benavidez from the WBC, he has not been mandated. He's not. There's no mandatory from the WBO as of yet either with Demetrius Andre and Zach Parker. So since no one has been mandated, no one is on the clock, Canelo's holding back nothing. And no, he should not drop any damn belts.
Why should he drop his belts when he's going out on an injury? I mean, these so-called champs, these lions, what they need to do is they need to take the opportunity while Canelo is out and just fight each other.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And let's get to the next one. This one comes from No Name. And No Name states, do you think that Anthony Joshua taking Tyson Fury deal was a good idea? Like, I give him all the credit in the world to take the smoke, but do you think it was a bad idea? Now, I'll tell you this. I don't think he's going to be the best Anthony Joshua going into a Tyson Fury fight coming off of back-to-back losses. Obviously, he has some mental damage going on. But at the end of the day, you know, I appreciate Anthony Joshua because every fight and every opportunity he gets, he's always trying to be great. And Anthony Joshua could turn the tables if he's able to beat Tyson Fury some kind of way. So if he's able to pull this off, I think the risk makes sense based on the reward. He could go back to the top of the division in boxing with this win. Why not go for all the marbles? Is it the right time? I don't think it's the best time for AJ, but I think Anthony Joshua cannot turn down this opportunity. This is literally once in a lifetime.
See, Anthony Joshua's a go-getter. I mean, he wants all the smoke. You've seen it by all the fights that he's taken. But do I think that he should take this fight? Absolutely not. I cannot imagine where his confidence is right now, losing 2 back-to-back fights. So Fury right now, he knows that it's an easy fight for him because he knows that AJ is mentally maybe not there. So AJ is vulnerable and Fury is capitalizing on it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's keep it going. The next one comes from my brother Felix, and he states, who's the next future star that's going to be the face of boxing and will not duck anyone? Now, you know, you never can say never about anybody, but I will say I like Bam Rodriguez. I think, you know, he has great potential. I like Virgil Ortiz. He has great potential. I like Jaron Ennis. He has great potential. I like Shakur Stevenson. He has great potential. So all of these guys have great potential to do something special, to possibly be the face of boxing, and to possibly not duck any smoke.
You know, it's going to have to be King Rai for me. I'm just kidding. No way. No, I mean, I would have to agree with you. It's going to be Virgil Ortiz for me. I mean, he's a beast. He has a 100% knockout rate. He's always hungry for a challenge. He's not afraid of the smoke. Can't do nothing but respect this guy.
Sounds good to me. And the next one comes from my brother Christian. And he says, Canelo Alvarez complained about his hand, using it as an excuse for Triple G, but didn't complain during Bivol. Totally excused because he couldn't knock out Triple G. Now, first of all, only an idiot, dummy, and a moron would believe Canelo Alvarez had to knock out Triple G for it to be a success. Triple G has never been knocked down, and he's never been knocked out in his career. So just because Canelo didn't knock him out doesn't mean anything. When Devin Haney didn't knock out a D-level Kambosos, did you criticize him? No, you didn't. Because you don't have to knock out everybody. Literally, 90% of Floyd's career, he wasn't knocking anybody out. Early in his career, he did. Late in his career, he didn't. So is it a disappointment for Floyd that he was not able to knock out a young Canelo who he had a catchweight on? No. At the end of the day, a victory is a victory, and Canelo Alvarez still dominated Triple G. He got a dominating win. And also this, listen, dumbass, why would you use it as an excuse for a fight you dominated against Triple G. When you use it for a loss against Bivol, you say, hey, I lost to Bivol. I lost because, I have a hand injury. He never said that. He used it after a dominating win. It's not an excuse. It's simply a fact.
That makes perfect sense. But I knew this was going to come up because people just have a misconception about tears in general. So here's just some information about tears. They're not always unbearable. You can still use, whatever body part where you have the tear. But if you continue to use that body part, day after day, especially in, a sport like boxing where it's repetitive motion, it's going to continue getting worse. So his hand was at a point where surgery is needed. Even with the tear, he continued to dominate the fight against Triple G.
It sounds good. And thanks for listening to another edition of the Honest and Unbiased Q&A with the IBFP and my guest,
Miss Spicy Boxing.
And remember, men lie, women lie, but the
facts don't lie.